Well, welcome everyone. My name is Lizzie Mayo, and I'm an Associate Director of Admissions for the Bay Area Part-Time MBA program. I'll be your host today. And I'm so glad that you all could make it to tonight's events. I would like to welcome our colleagues from PG&E as well as UC Davis Graduate School of Management communities. I'm joined tonight by Brian Ard, who is the Chief of Engagement and Capability Enablement for the Enterprise Change Organization Department of PG&E and has been a member of the community for the past 15 years. He's also an Aggie. He
I
received his
am.
he received his undergraduate degree in organizational studies from UC Davis. I am also joined by UC Davis MBA alumnus Ben Finkelor, who is the executive director of the UC Davis Energy and Efficiency Institute, as well as the director of the Sustainable Energy Industry Immersion program at the Graduate School of Management. So without further ado, we'll begin tonight's presentation with Brian.
Hello, everybody. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here with you all today. If we could back up to the previous slide real quick, Lizzie. Let's just acknowledge that my picture isn't doing justice to my current look, right? This is a product of the COVID, and I get such positive feedback that I've kept it. But I've been with PG&E for 15 years, and I got to tell you, for the folks interested in pursuing, a career in, resilient, sustainable energy, I found my calling in the utility industry, and so I hope you all look at that. And I'll add to that my time at UC Davis, and I'm not afraid to share this. I graduated in 1992. Lizzie was really kind and didn't share. But I was there for 5 years. In my first quarter, I struggled a little bit, and I shared with Lizzie before we got started today. I fell in love with the place, and so it is such a wonderful institution. If you ever have any questions, please reach out to me. Happy to talk to you about it. But I still think very fondly of it. So if we could advance to the next slide. All right, so we're going to talk about, if we're going to create this resilient industry, right? If we're going to change, I'd like to maybe change the world, at least change things in California, change things across the U.S., right? It's going to require a different type of leadership to create that innovation, that excitement. And I don't know if any of you have heard of David Marquette, but he has a fascinating story called Turn the Ship Around. And he has a perspective on leadership that it's about embedding the capacity for greatness in the people and the practices of the organization. And I especially love the second part here, and it's decoupled from the personality of the leader, right? No organization or institution should be so wedded to the leader that it can't function without that leader, because our role is to build greatness in others. If we could advance the slide, Lizzie. Right. And so before I go on, right, if we're going to really embark on this journey, build this resilient energy of the future, and we're going to really lead differently. I work with folks, and I coach a fair amount of leaders, in particular senior leaders. And I just love this cartoon where it says at the top, who wants things to change? And, most of us raise our hands, right? We say, yeah, we want things to change. And then I ask leaders and teams and organizations, do you want to change? And are you willing to change, right? And we're often reluctant to raise our hands in that, but that's really what it takes, right? We got to lead differently if we're going to create this new energy and resilient energy. If we could advance to the next slide, Lizzie. All right, so I've been around a fair amount. I've been working for over 30 years and worked for some major corporations, UPS, Allstate Insurance, and Agilent / Hewlett Packard, and then I spent the last 15 years at PG&E. Right, and I've experienced what we're talking about at the top of the slide here. Like historically, it's been about leaders are taking control, and we attract followers. And a lot of leaders have identified that the larger my team is, or the larger the organization I lead, that's what leadership is. That's really what leaders do. And what I'm going to suggest we explore today is that today's competitive environment, right? Because people have choices, especially with, in my opinion, how COVID affected the remote working. That really opened up, and we really showed that we can work remotely and be very successful, right? People have choices, right? And so it necessitates a different kind of leadership where our role isn't to be top-down command and control and tell folks what to do, where I liken that to managing people, right? Our role is to create the environment so we're thinking, right? So all of us are thinking and connecting to our purpose and the organization's purpose. And to do that, we as leaders, we have to give up control, and our role is to create the future leaders, right? That becomes our primary job. You could advance the slide, Lizzie. All right, to do that, right, I alluded to it a little bit, right? This shift from, going from managing to leading, right? And what I love about this is there's this construct of going from this formal authority where I may have authority from the organization over you, but we're really seeking to have moral authority, where we really embrace trust. And in the middle of that white text paragraph, you can see, right, if both the follower and the leader are principle-centered, in essence, both the leader and followers are both followers because we're in the pursuit of trust, and we follow the natural order. And a way to think about it is on the left-hand side under manager, right? This is typically what managers tend to do, right? They focus on things. They do things right. We organize, we control, we follow the rules, right? And to lead in this new way, right? Leaders, we need to focus on the people, right? We're here to create that environment I talked about earlier, which necessitates us focusing on the people. And we do the right things, right? Which is different than do things right, where a leader will say, this is the right thing to do. It may not be what our process calls for or what the policy is, but we need to do the right thing. And that's what leaders do. We inspire, we influence, we build and shape entities for the future. We're here to inspire others. And I'll talk a little bit later about the difference between inspiration and motivation towards the end of my presentation. We could advance the slide, Lizzie. So one of the things that I've found over the years, and as I mentioned, I've been working for 30 years, this concept of servant leadership. And that's the same paragraph on the previous slide, right, in the white text. But it really highlights this shift from the formal authority, where we have authority given to us by the organization, maybe in an org chart, maybe in a title, where we're really seeking to have this moral authority, where as a servant leader, right, we are here to serve the purpose and something greater than ourselves. And that requires us to focus on the right-hand side under moral authority. We're about empowerment. We're about sacrifice. We welcome and embrace feedback. We actively seek feedback on how we can get better every day. We're gentle. We're patient. We revere people and see their potential. And at the end of this presentation, I'll touch more on that, about recognizing that all of us have greatness within us. And it's our role as leaders to pull that out in this new way of leading. If you could advance the slide, Lizzie. Thank you. So within, and I'm not going to drain this slide, but within servant leadership, there are 6 styles of leaders. 6 styles of leadership. That what I've learned over the years, that leaders that can flex across these, in particular, the 4 positive ones. If you look at the bottom row where it says overall impact on the ecosystem, 2 of them are negative to this environment we're trying to create, right? If we're going to do great things in the energy and the utility industry, right? 2 of them are negative and 4 of them are positive. Leaders that master all 6, or at least the 4 that are positive, really have achieved greatness, and their results far exceed those that tend to lean towards the managing side. And you might be asking yourself, why do we have 2 styles that are negative to this environment, right? The coercive style, the command and control, as I like to call it, or the pace setting, the one to the left of coaching. And those are needed because individuals or teams within an organization, a functional area in an organization, or the organization as a whole, need leaders to operate in different ways to bring out the best in people, right, to create this environment. And what I often work with leaders on is moving out of this command and control, this hierarchy, or what I call managing. And it's hard, it can be hard to let go of that, right? But there is a time and a place for that. PG&E 2 years ago just came out of bankruptcy. And when you're in bankruptcy, right, you got to be in a command and control environment, because there's real legal implications, there's financial implications to that. So there is a time and a place, and I work a lot with leaders, and you only go into the 2 negative ones for the shortest amount of time necessarily, and you get out real quickly. And the metaphor I use is nobody wants to stay in bankruptcy, right? You only drop in when you have to and you get out as quickly. And where I find the greatest joy in work, where leaders are really inspired and we're doing tremendous things, is when we're in the four that are really positive. In particular, visionary, right? If you've ever worked for a leader or had somebody in your life that says, hey, come with me, there's a new way we can do this, a new way we can think about. We can help change our communities, whether at a micro level where we live or at a macro level in our state or counties. It got a little blurry for me. Is it just on my end, or is that for other folks too, the slide?
I think that was just your end.
Okay. Fortunately, I've seen these many times, so I can continue on. So I told you I wouldn't drag this slide. I just wanted to give you an overview that leaders that really flex across, and in particular, the four positive styles really create the environment for folks to do great things. If we could advance the slide, Lizzie, thank you. Oh, it's back now. And so within that previous slide, there was the middle row that talked about what's the emotional intelligence component that it connects with. And this is what I've learned. And if you've ever studied Daniel Goleman, who was the author and creator of emotional intelligence, it came out about 15 or 20 years ago. He's a psychologist. He went to Harvard. I think he's from the Modesto, Stockton area, somewhere out there is his hometown. And what he realized on a flight, he happened to sit next to the head of, I forget where he was going on his flight, but he happened to sit next to the head of the Alumni Association at MIT, whose main charter was to recruit money for the organization, right? Get donations. And he had this hypothesis. He said, he just asked him, he said, hey, look, who's able to give the most money back to MIT? And what Daniel Goleman's thought was, it's probably the smartest people, right? The people with the highest IQs that are going out doing great things. And what he learned was that wasn't the case, that it was actually the people that started, that were team captains, that started clubs or organizations within the school, or the people that brought in businesses and business ideas and started maturing them while they were in school at MIT and attracted other people. And he said, what do those folks have? And then through research, he came up with this concept called emotional intelligence. And what's interesting is the higher up in the organization you are, the more important emotional intelligence becomes, right? You have to be smart enough to get into the game, whether if you're an accountant, if you're in finance, if you're in the utility space, you gotta be smart enough to get in the game. But the real differentiator for leaders that do great things is this emotional intelligence. And it has 4 quick components, and I'm just gonna do a flyby. There's self-awareness. Do I really understand my emotions that get in the way of me being a great leader that inspires others? Am I able to manage those emotions in a healthy way and recognize when they're impeding me? And what do I recognize it? And am I able to mitigate those? And then the next 2, social awareness and social skill, are the same 2 concepts, but not for the individual level, but for a group, a team, or an organization. Does the organization have awareness of how they're perceived or received and impact others? And are they able to mitigate and manage those in a healthy way that brings out the greatness that they can bring to bear? If you could advance the slide, Lizzie. All right, I told you I'd get to this. So this is the trust and inspires part. And if you've heard of Stephen Covey, he's the son of Stephen Covey, who came up with the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Leaders. He worked in that space for a while, and then his son, Stephen Covey, I think it's Stephen M.R. Covey is the son. He doesn't go by Junior for some reason. He's also gone out on his own. His father has passed away, but he went out on his own and started this concept called Trust and Inspire Leadership. And I think it was his first book. I'm not positive on that. It was called Moving at the Speed of Trust. And then he came out with this book called Trust and Inspire, which blends so amazingly well with servant leadership and this concept of going from managing to leading. And he talks about, to be a trust and inspire leader, right? We've got to model the right behaviors. And the question might be, well, why do leaders have to model the right behaviors? And the short answer is because we're the leaders, right? We all know that if a leader doesn't model the right behavior, no one else will model it, right? So we got to model who we are as leaders. And then trust. How do you build trust, right? And he has this concept that trustworthy times trusting equals trust. So I can be trustworthy. Any one of you on the call could be trustworthy, but that doesn't necessarily mean we have trust between us. And to do that, we have to extend trust or be trusting of others, in particular, those that may have wronged us in the past, right? Someone at work that may have done something that we feel slighted, right? And we talk about, he talks about how we build that trust. So you have to be trustworthy times trusting equals trust. And then inspiring. I said I'd get to that earlier when I was going over servant leadership, the difference between inspiration and motivation. And the way I like to think about it is motivation can be a carrot or a stick, right? We can offer higher salaries for Bay Area jobs, and the same job in other parts of the state may not pay as much, and it's called a per diem or an additional, comp structure for folks that live in certain areas or work different shifts. But if we take that away, what's likely to happen? Folks will not come to this. They'll likely say, well, look, I want to work closer to home or live in a more affordable market. And so whether it's a positive one like additional comp, or can be the stick part of a carrot and stick could be a poor performance review. As soon as we take those things away, right, the behaviors tend to go back. So motivation is directly related to the positive or negative motivation. And if you remove it, the behaviors tend to revert back. Whereas when we inspire somebody, we connect them to the purpose. And our organization, PG&E, our purpose is three components. We deliver for our hometowns, we serve the planet, and we lead with love, right? So everything that we do is viewed through that lens and how we connect to that, right? We are absolutely, what I love to say is we are a pipes and wire organization, right? We deliver electric and gas service to 2/3 of the state of California, right? And California is what now? I think I just heard it's the 5th largest economy in the world, right? And so it's a real privilege to do that. And our purpose is to deliver for our hometown, serve the planet, and lead with love. And so connecting people to purpose is how you get folks that unequivocally go the extra mile. They turn down fancier titles or even higher pay because they're connected to the purpose of what the organization does. If you could advance the slide, Lizzie. And so it's part of this trust and inspire leadership, right? There's 5 components, and I'm just going to talk about the top one, just in the interest of time today. The first one is there's 5 elements of a trust and inspire leader that we believe. The top one, people have greatness inside them, right? All people have greatness within them. And our role as a leader is to unleash their potential and not control them. And I just love that, because if we try to control them, we're clearly on the managing side, and we just know we don't get the most out of people, because nobody wakes up and badges in and comes into work, or logs in and comes to work and says, I want the crap managed out of me today. Tell me everything I have to do and tell me how to do it and do all these. Nobody wants that. And frankly, no leaders really want to do that. We want to inspire and help folks go and do great things. And that becomes our job, because we, as I started this conversation out, it's about creating the environment and building greatness in others, right? Create the environment for folks to think, and we create the future leaders of the organization. So that's all I have. I think we have some time for Q&A at the end. And again, a plug for UC Davis, wonderful organization. Thank you for hearing my perspectives on leadership as it ties to how we lead this resilient energy of the future. So with that, I will turn it back over to Lizzie.
All right. Thank you, Brian. We really appreciate your presentation and your partnership.
You're so welcome.
Now I would like to turn over the presentation to Ben Finkelor, who will speak about the Graduate School of Management Sustainable Energy Industry Immersion Program and the UC Davis Energy and Efficiency Institute.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks, Lizzie, for the introduction. Fun to go right after Brian here, just to kind of echo his thoughts. I'm also an Aggie through and through. I bleed blue and gold. And I got my undergrad from UC San Diego, so I bleed there, blue and gold, good colors, UC colors, certificate of corporate and environmental management from UC Santa Barbara. But I got my MBA from UC Davis, and I work for UC Davis. I've been here for about 20 years or 18 years after I got my degree in 2004. So yeah, bleed blue and gold. I also am a big fan of PG&E, so we have the same colors, Brian. So yeah, it all works out.
Love it.
And
love it.
yeah. And so super thrilled and honored to be able to chat with you today, kind of on this important topic. I definitely earned my chops at UC Davis and got well prepared for my current role, leading the Energy and Efficiency Institute, which we've grown. It started as a center, and now it's kind of grown up. But I do also have the honor of leading this industrial immersion program for sustainable energy. And there's 3 immersion programs that have these topic areas. So one is in sustainable energy and sustainable energy. Another is in food and ag. And then the third is around biotech. And all 3 of those really are programs that leverage the existing expertise, world leadership that the UC Davis campus has, right? So for those of you who don't know, we're the #1 ag school in the country. We compete regularly for that honor between us and Cornell. Usually we go 1 and 2. We go 1 in rankings, but also just kind of, just the impact that we have not only here in the US, but globally. In fact, we compete with Wageningen University in the Netherlands. Again, we go #1 and #2 with them every year. But I bring that up just because kind of we have a leadership position in the space, and the MBA program under the current dean's leadership kind of was really thoughtful in rolling out these industry immersion programs, which allow us to leverage the great strengths of the campus in terms of some of our technology solutions, and then combining that with business acumen to try to drive kind of impact and solutions into the marketplace. And so what's great about these programs is 10 weeks of interactive classes that aren't taught by people like me. I know I said I'm in charge of running the sustainable energy industry immersion program, and I've had executives from PG&E, from Wells Fargo, from a number of different investors, startups, but C-suite executives in the energy space that will come and they teach the class. And what they do is it's kind of like the business case where they give you a real business case, a challenge that they're facing, trying to roll out heat pumps to 6 million households in California, right? This is a big challenge that a chief marketing officer for a utility might have. How do they kind of both address the energy component of that, but also the business side of it? And it's oftentimes an organizational management standpoint, it's a marketing standpoint, it's a financial problem, but looking at all of those. And so what we do is we give our MBA students an opportunity to work side by side with master's and PhD students in that particular area of expertise, right? So we could have energy systems PhD and managed master students side by side with MBA students working on some of the real world challenges that these industry executives are facing in a particular sector. So I teach the energy one, but we have a food and ag one, and then of course we have a biotech one as well, given we have a vet med program and the med program in Sacramento. And so some of these things actually come together. There's actually, certainly there's as we think about the circular economy and we think about kind of where some of the bioresources that we have from the food and ag sector can serve as an energy resource, and then how those sectors, Coca-Cola, for instance, uses a lot of energy, right? And so they're interested in saving energy at the same time as providing new nutritional products that can leverage the latest technologies to drive beneficial outcomes in communities. So these industry immersion programs I'm pretty excited about. Obviously I'm biased because I get to facilitate one of them. Like I said, what my job is to invite all of those executives to come in and help them curate case studies. These are real world challenges that they're facing, and then pose those challenges to the students. They've got to kind of work together to come up with what they would do if they were in the shoes of that executive around that particular challenge. Next slide. Lizzie, I will talk a little bit about the institute that I've been running for the past 18 years. It started as a center, as I mentioned earlier, and now we have a graduate group where you can get your your master's or PhD in energy systems. This is really a fantastic opportunity to get students that are studying energy to then be paired with MBA students that might already have an energy background or be interested in the energy sector and think about doing a transition and working side by side through those immersion programs. But really, but the whole idea is to give experiential learning opportunities, real world research projects for students to work on that help us drive impact ultimately in communities, right? And in order to do that, you kind of got to get your hands dirty and get out into the field, right? And so this is kind of the ag analogy, but it's like, let's go work with communities that often have better knowledge than we do about why are heat pumps, for instance, getting adopted or not getting adopted. Understanding that as well as the technology is going to be crucial to kind of getting solutions adopted in the market. So next slide, you'll see we've got a number of different research areas of expertise. For instance, we have a lighting technology center here on campus. PG&E, by the way, was a co-founder of all of these different research centers that I'm going to show you from the very beginning. And in fact, they provided some seed funding for us to launch our center at the time, now Institute. Mike Delaney, by the way, Brian sits on our board. He's the new senior vice president, I believe, for innovation and partnerships. Which is an appropriate title to have in collaboration with us. So, but you can see that we've got a whole range of industry sponsors that are supporting our work, not just in lighting, which largely lighting technology, you probably don't have an incandescent light in your household anymore. If you do, when it breaks next, you're going to probably replace it with an LED. Our center's been pretty instrumental in pushing the technology forward in collaboration with utilities that have been running incentive programs to roll those out. And that's a massive effort and campaign. And it definitely does require a new type of approach than the traditional utility business model. And I think, again, PG&E and other utilities in California have taken a leadership role that others utilities across the country are following. So, the need for new leadership and new approaches is really important. But understanding kind of the new technologies that are out there and understanding the opportunities for how we can deploy different business models and different approaches is going to be critical. Our lighting center, like I said, does more than just lighting. They do virtual energy management, more building controls, and including electric vehicle charging and battery charging, and how do we have that interact with the grid at the distributed scale predominantly. The next center you'll see is another center working on, and go ahead. Yeah, thanks, Lizzie. Is looking at this water energy nexus. There's energy in water and there's water and energy. When you pump water, when you use water in your household, you're pumping it from somewhere usually, unless it's coming from say the Sierras, and it may be treated or filtered, and then it comes to your house. You heat it up oftentimes, so you're using energy there. And then when you discard the water down the sewer, it gets treated at the wastewater treatment plant. So every gallon of water you use actually has energy both upstream and downstream that it's being used. So if you save water, or if companies save water, you're actually saving energy, and oftentimes the energy is just as valuable as the water. And so this is something that we've kind of realized, and we've developed a whole set of research areas in this space, working with different leading water utilities, as well as, of course, electric utilities. The next slide, the next slide you'll see, we also do work on HVAC. I mentioned heat pumps are this big deal. A lot of the folks with existing houses, most new houses in California are going to have heat pumps installed already, but a heat pump effectively is what's in your refrigerator, right? It just moves heat from one place to another. And currently, the way our air conditioners are used today is we have a separate air conditioner from a separate heater, right? We use a boiler, predominantly natural gas, to heat water and to heat our space, and we use an air conditioner for cooling. What a heat pump does is basically it's like an air conditioner, but it can run in reverse, so you can do both your heating and cooling, and it can be done really efficiently. And as we try to decarbonize our economy, we're going to try to electrify various applications where we can, much like we're doing with vehicles. We want to do that with homes. And that's going to be, again, heat pumps are the big kind of play here, but there's other technologies that we work on. And it's not just heating, it's also indoor air quality and other ventilation and HVAC technologies that we work on here. And there's maybe one other slide here, just talking about our graduate group. I think I mentioned that already. And so, these are students that you get to work, the MBA students get to work closely with in classrooms. And that's oftentimes, you're learning from the executives that come into the industry immersion program, but they're also able to learn from each other, which is a great opportunity because, it's such a great time. I mean, we just had our 20-year reunion for the business school, and it's, it's fun to have a network that you can rely on. These are folks that you can, be able to, you develop these relationships in the classroom that can really be, a lifelong network and resource for you going forward. So I think that's my last slide, and I'll pass it back to Lizzie.
Thank you, Ben. Appreciate that. And thank you for giving us insights on the great work that's being done across the UC Davis campus and the Graduate School of Management. I'd like to shift the conversation now to the programs that make up the GSM. So I'm going to let the students tell that story for us.
At UC Davis Graduate School of Management, there are a myriad of program options. The great thing about all of these programs is it really provides variety and options and helps tailor the needs and requirements of a student.
I wanted a school that prioritized a collaborative environment, emphasized a sense of community, and prioritized an in-person experience where we would really learn from each other.
I reached out to 10 of our alums, and to my surprise, all 10 of them responded back. This clearly shows how much students here at UC Davis care for each other and even for the upcoming prospective MBA students.
Along with social responsibility, most of the courses are teaching us how can businesses not only be successful today, but with the limited resources that we have on the planet, how can they meet the challenges of today and to have a sustainable business that people will be excited to work for.
So the MBA is a versatile degree. You can use it in business operation, finance, HR, technology. I am using it to grow my career path in the biotechnology industry.
The reason I joined the UC Davis part-time program was to continue to develop my business acumen, really prepare myself to be the decision maker for big business decisions, and then also develop more of a fundamental understanding in that landscape. This program allowed me to still have some comfortability with the learning style I've been accustomed to. I also have the flexibility to not be bogged down in any one particular location.
UC Davis has 3 immersion programs: sustainable energy, biotechnology, and food and agriculture.
We offer immersions in those specific sectors, and we offer them the opportunity to connect with business leaders to learn what organizations are doing and gain exposure. Today's organizations are flexible, they're fast, they're innovative. What we're trying to do is develop our understanding of people management techniques that will really speak to today's generation of workers.
I was looking for online programs. I'm from the Bay Area, but I wanted that flexibility. The online MBA provides that flexibility.
When I was looking for MBA programs, what was really important to me was the collaborative culture. This MBA will definitely open doors for me, and the way I see it is that it will allow me a ticket to a seat in rooms that I probably wouldn't have been able to participate in.
Coming to school in San Francisco, it opens a lot of doors. It opens the hesitation of being a first-gen immigrant STEM woman. I belong here. I belong in the tech hub. And I'm in those spaces where I see people and women who are just making waves in the tech industry, the data industry. Personally, I want to have a career in data. For me, that is the most important thing.
In business world, a lot of your success will be related to the connections that you're able to make. The GSM really helps to facilitate that. You know, when I was applying to the GSM, I did have some anxiety, but I really believed in myself and followed through with the process. If you can take anything from me, I would say believe in yourself.
After realizing that I could actually start my own company based on an idea, I needed the business competence to back that up. I landed a job before I even started my first class of the MPAC program. So just having MPAC as an experience point, companies were more confident in hiring me.
All right. Wonderful. So from the video, you can see we have a variety of programs within the GSM. The options are that are designed for working professionals are our part-time MBA programs located in Sacramento and San Ramon, as well as our online MBA platform. The curriculum is designed to be completed in 2 years. However, you have up to 4 years to complete your coursework. And the in-person cohorts have classes twice a week after 5 o'clock over Zoom, and then every other Saturday is in person. So you have a predictable work-life balance, as well as FaceTime with classmates and faculty. During our Saturday sessions, we provide breakfast, lunch, and plenty of caffeine to get you through your day. This is significant because one of the most important opportunities you can obtain from your MBA experience is really networking. Our delivery format allows you to truly get to know your classmates, to participate in student clubs, and to work on group projects. The online MBA also has live class sessions twice a week after 5 o'clock over Zoom. There's a theme there, but their in-person component is fulfilled by 2 required long weekend residentials that are located throughout California. The majority of the course content is provided to you in the form of pre-recorded content to explore at your convenience. Regardless of the program you decide to join, we believe in a one MBA experience. And so all that allows our students to cross-register across platforms to expand their network. Your core classes must be taken at your home campus, but your elective classes can be taken at any campus. This allows students access to our industry immersions, which are conducted at the Davis campus. So what are the top reasons you should pursue your MBA? For starters, an MBA degree allows for personal and professional growth that you typically won't be able to gain just from work experience alone. Top reasons why current students find themselves in an MBA program are to gain self-empowerment and confidence for a future role, to switch careers, to find new passions and a sense of purpose, to gain the ability to face future career challenges, to gain an international perspective, and to invest in yourself to gain a higher earning potential. Our curriculum at the GSM is industry focused, meaning that throughout your MBA experience, you will have the opportunity to work collectively to solve pressing business challenges posed by top companies and startups through the case studies, as well as opportunities to engage with business professionals from across industries. You'll have the opportunity to learn from our globally ranked faculty who are committed to your success and development as professionals. You'll also benefit from knowing that the knowledge you're receiving is actually coming 3 to 5 years before it's even published in scholarly journals, putting you well ahead of the curve. Building your leadership capacity through our pioneering collaborative leadership program, modeled on approaches used by global companies for their executives, as exemplified in today's webinar. I will talk about that in a few minutes. You'll have the opportunity to collaborate with classmates, faculty, alumni, and executives from all over the world who will challenge you to be your best self. You will also increase your marketability when job seeking and maximize return on investment throughout your career journey. The UC Davis Graduate School of Management welcomes applicants from all branches of the military and their spouses. The UC Davis GSM students still serving or with past military service have excelled inside and outside the classroom. Business schools and employers value your leadership skills, project management experience, team building operations, as well as your confidence to execute collectively in high pressure real world situations. It's not enough to just gain valuable knowledge without real world application. At the GSM, our faculty provide real world connections to the knowledge that is being taught through engagement in group projects, case studies, and activities. Our students are provided with opportunities to put knowledge into practice by doing. During your time in the program, you will gain not only foundational knowledge of business and management, you will have the opportunity to collaborate and learn from industry leaders like Brian and Ben. which will ultimately help you grow as you into the best version of yourself. I hope the video gave you the firsthand understanding of one of the key reasons our students join the GSM community: collaboration. We foster a school culture that inspires, transforms, and empowers individuals to be collective leaders committed to making a positive impact. During our collaborative leadership program, you will be paired with a senior industry leader who will be your mentor. They will hone your collaborative leadership skills through team projects. You will connect with top CEOs and global companies who will share their leadership experiences through fireside chats and be encouraged to lead student organizations. We also offer workshops that will take a deeper dive into the collaborative leadership pillars and how to put them into practice. So on the screen, you can see the 4 pillars of our collaborative leadership program, and they are to inspire others to achieve, to help others succeed, to build trust and positive energy, and to learn from others. And as you can recall from earlier today, those were some of the things that Brian mentioned in his presentation, as well as something that is valued. Okay. So Ben reviewed the industry immersion program, but another way to customize your MBA electives is via our self-guided concentrations. The options that we offer are marketing, entrepreneurship and innovation, technology management, strategy, organizational behavior, business analytics and technologies, and finance and accounting, and general management. These curated lists of classes allow you to focus in on an area of study that aligns with your current job function and your career goals. You're not limited by this list in any way. You can combine these classes to customize your experience as well. For example, you may want to combine marketing with business analytics to improve your marketing techniques, or general management with organizational behavior if you're in the HR field. Our capstone course will sharpen your writing, speaking, and critical thinking abilities. You'll put your collective business skills and knowledge to work on a 10-week team project. As example, here's a sample from PG&E that occurred last year, I believe. These projects come from our partner companies and that range from Fortune 500 firms to Silicon Valley startups, and will focus on real-time issues. By creatively responding to actual business challenges, you'll deepen the analytical, technical, and leadership skills you need to succeed. Our career development team offers one-on-one coaching, company career fairs and information sessions, industry and business function panels, alumni connections, as well as practical job search strategies and skill building. Finally, I would like to invite you to experience our dynamic community by attending a class visit. Come see the Davis difference, meet our students and faculty. We offer class visits every quarter across our platforms, and come see what format works best for you firsthand. Thank you again to our speakers.